They played you for a sucker, even handed you a lollipop to match, like you were some kind of fool. They laughed, they whispered behind your back, tossing little barbs your way as if you didn't notice, as if you were too naive to see it all. But what they didn't know is you were a few steps ahead of them, watching, waiting. And when the time was right, oh, you let them see exactly who you are. And isn't it funny? The ones who thought they had you figured out, thought they were so clever, so untouchable, they're the real suckers. They walked around like they were Mr. and Mrs. Big Stuff, believing they could toy with you, use you as their plaything without a second thought. But now they see the joke was on them all along. Well, look who finally decided to pay attention. They went so far as to throw you to the sidelines, thought you'd just sit there quietly, licking your wounds. They saw trash, they didn't see the ember line beneath the surface, ready to ignite. And when you finally did, they scrambled, choking on the smoke of a fire they thought was nothing but ash. You see, there's a funny kind of beauty in being dismissed and being counted out. It strips away the rose-colored glasses. You get to see the world in its rawest form, cold, ruthless, and absolutely ignorant of the power it awakens in those it tries to crush. They thought they had the last laugh, but every slight, every sneer, every time they cast you aside, it all added fuel to the flame. People love to play God, don't they? They love to decide who's worth something, who's disposable. They think their judgment is the final verdict. But the quiet ones, the invisible ones, the so-called weak ones, oh, we're watching. We're learning. We're biding our time, out there in the shadows, while they bask in their blissful ignorance. And then, when they least expect it, we rise. Slowly at first, just a flicker of a threat, a shadow out of the corner of their eye. But then we're unstoppable, a force they never saw coming. And suddenly it's them who can't sleep at night. They're the ones haunted by the idea that the very person they underestimated holds an immense, unbreakable power. Real power doesn't need applause. It doesn't need a stage, a spotlight, or validation. Real power is born in silence and solitude. It's forged in the dark, in the rejection, in the betrayal. And once you find it, there's no going back. They think they know strength, they think they understand control. But they have no idea what true strength looks like, what real power feels like, until it's staring them in the face with a grin they can't ignore. Every jab, every sneer, every time they counted you out, it all poured gasoline on a fire they never saw coming. And now that fire's here, blazing in front of them, and they're the ones with everything to lose. You've risen from their ashes, shaped by every doubt, every sneer, every time they looked at you like you were nothing. And now you're something they can't ignore. You're the reckoning they didn't see coming, the reminder that they should have known better than to think they could play you for a sucker. Funny, isn't it? They thought they held all the cards, thought they could dictate the rules of the game. But they didn't realize you were the wild card, the one piece they could never predict. And now, as you reveal your true intentions, their own game begins to unravel right in front of them. They're scrambling, clinging to the illusion of control, trying to piece together some plan to stay one step ahead. But it's too late. You're not that person they thought you were. You've transformed, evolved into someone they don't recognize, someone they can't manipulate, can't silence, can't control. Oh, they thought they could play you, thought they could mold you into something safe, something manageable. They didn't realize that every move they made, every word they spat in your direction was only making you stronger. They were sharpening you, hardening you, building you into something they'd one day fear. Now they're left facing the reality you're a force they can't ignore. And as you stand before them, unshaken with a quiet power radiating from within, they finally understand that the tables have turned. You're not just rising, you're soaring above them, untouched by the pettiness that once held you down. They thought they were invincible, but now they're the ones who can't look in the mirror without seeing the cracks in their own armor. They can't shake the fear that maybe, just maybe, they were wrong. They were the fools, the suckers who believed in their own lies, and now they're left haunted by the truth, A truth that stings far worse than any insult they ever hurled your way. Funny, isn't it? They thought they held all the cards, thought they could dictate the rules of the game. But they didn't realize you were the wild card, the one piece they could never predict. And now, as you reveal your true intentions, their own game begins to unravel right in front of them. They're scrambling, clinging to the illusion of control, trying to piece together some plan to stay one step ahead. But it's too late. You're not that person they thought you were. You've transformed, evolved into someone they don't recognize, someone they can't manipulate, can't silence, can't control. Oh, they thought they could play you, thought they could mold you into something safe, something manageable. They didn't realize that every move they made, every word they spat in your direction, was only making you stronger. They were sharpening you, hardening you, building you into something they'd one day fear. Now they're left facing the reality you're a force they can't ignore, and as you stand before them, unshaken, with a quiet power radiating from within, they finally understand that the tables have turned. You're not just rising, you're soaring above them, untouched by the pettiness that once held you down. They thought they were invincible, but now they're the ones who can't look in the mirror without seeing the cracks in their own armor. They can't shake the fear that maybe, just maybe, they were wrong. They were the fools, the suckers who believed in their own lies. And now they're left haunted by the truth, a truth that stings far worse than any insult they ever hurled your way. Because you see, the real suckers, they're the ones who think they're so clever, so untouchable. They play their little games, convinced they're pulling all the strings, but the joke's on them, they were never the masterminds they imagined themselves to be. They're not as smart as they think, they're just so wrapped up in their own egos, they can't see the truth right in front of them. They hate on you when you succeed, whisper behind your back, watching from the sidelines, wishing they could be in your place. They want to be you, but they can't. Because deep down they're just hollow copies, empty shells with no real strength, no real fire. They're like jokers on a card, fakes without a real smile, just pretending to be something they're not. And now, as they watch you rise, they're scrambling to understand. They thought they had it all figured out, thought they could manipulate you, control you. But it's hitting them now, hard and fast. They were the real fools.
Please take this short break from your video to support our channel by getting yourself merch. Enjoy the rest of the video.
They're just players in a game they'll never win. Fake jokers in a world that's finally calling their bluff. So let them hate, let them stew in their bitterness. Because every single sneer, every jealous glance, every empty word only reveals the truth that they were never in your league, never even close. While they were busy pretending, you were out here becoming something real, something they can't touch. Let them watch, let them squirm. Because they can't ignore the truth any longer. They might have tried to bring you down to make you doubt yourself, but now they're faced with the reality they never wanted to see. You were always the one with the real strength. They thought their sneers and whispers could define you, thought they could break you with a few cheap words. But every insult, every time they tried to knock you down, only fueled you more, only sharpened the fire within. Now that fire is blazing right before them. And there's nothing they can do to put it out. They wanted to be you, but they didn't have the courage, the grit, the resilience. They were content with being shallow reflections, fake jokers on a card. They wore masks, played parts, thought they could convince the world of their worth with empty acts. But a real joker doesn't need a mask. They wear the truth on their face, raw and unapologetic. And you're not just someone who survived their games, you've thrived. You've turned their cruelty into your strength, their doubt into your drive. Now they're seeing you for what you truly are, a force they never could have dreamed of, a strength they can't hope to match. They're left watching, bitter and hollow, because they know they'll never reach what you have. They'll never stand where you stand now, because they were too busy tearing others down to build anything real. They're trapped in their own insecurities, held back by the very walls they tried to build around you. So let them be, these so-called clever ones, these fake jokers. They'll spend their lives clinging to shadows, trying to find worth in tearing down others, all while you stand tall, free from their games, stronger than they could ever imagine. Because at the end of the day, the biggest joke isn't on you. It's on them. Because real power, it doesn't need validation, doesn't seek revenge. It's calm, it's steady, it's unmovable. It's the kind of strength that speaks for itself, that doesn't need a crown or a stage. And now, you carry that power effortlessly, while they're left clinging to the scraps of what they once thought was control. So here you stand, strong, free, untouchable. And them? They're just background noise, the echoes of a past you've already left behind. The real sucker, the real fool was never you. It was them, trapped in their own illusions while you moved forward, unstoppable. In the end, you won by simply being you, unapologetically, unbreakably you. And that's the greatest victory of all.